Hey everyone, it's time for our Friday video devotion for youth ministry families. On Monday, I talked about a text from John chapter 17 when Jesus prayed for his disciples during a very challenging time. Then on Wednesday, I hope you were able to watch and worship along with our new Staying Together series. And that night, our friend Christian Davis from Trinity Baptist Church shared a little bit about how important it is to stay united and like-minded in the face of our troubles. And that was based on a reading from 1 Peter chapter 3. Today I want to share some practices from 1 Peter chapter 5 that I think will both help us and encourage us as we continue to find our path forward through the global pandemic. Plus, I think Dr. Haley will be preaching on this same text Sunday morning, so you're going to be able to receive a much deeper perspective on that day. The first thing we need to understand about the letter of 1 Peter is why it was written. The writer was probably Simon Peter, and he was likely writing with the help of Silas. Silas was kind of like a secretary to the apostles. He traveled with them, he wrote letters for them, and he even delivered some of those letters across great distances. Peter says he was writing from Babylon, which may have been the ancient city of Babylon in what is today Iraq, or it may have been a code name for the city of Rome. During that time that Peter was writing, Christians were being persecuted, perhaps by the Roman government or perhaps by Roman citizens who hated the religious practices of the Christians. So 1 Peter was written to encourage these believers who received the letter, to help them stay strong in a dangerous time. Now, I want to focus on 1 Peter chapter 5, verses 5 through 11, because they are specifically addressed to the younger members of these Christian groups. In this section, Peter offers a lot of good advice to young people whenever they feel like it's really hard to keep the faith. First, Peter encourages them to listen to their elders and be humble. I know, this probably sounds like a tired cliche. When we're teenagers, it's really easy to assume old people, like our parents, don't know anything. But our parents and grandparents, aunts and uncles, teachers, ministers, many others in our lives, they have lived a lot longer and they've learned much more that they can share with us. Peter is merely saying to take advantage of their wisdom and patience. And Peter also tells young people to give God their anxiety. Anxiety is something that we all deal with, and some of us deal more with it than others. But God loves us enough to walk with us through our anxiety. What does it look like to give God your anxiety? One thing you can do is pray. Now, you might be skeptical about the power of prayer, but you'd be surprised at how speaking your worries out loud can help you. Not only is God listening, but God might also inspire you with ideas to help you deal with your troubles. And if you pray out loud with others, you have an even greater circle of support. Finally, Peter warns about the devil, how the devil is like a roaring lion waiting to devour. It's helpful to think of the devil as an adversary. That's actually what the name Satan means. An adversary is someone who opposes you. What are the things in your life that oppose you? We've already talked about anxiety. That can be an adversary that we struggle with. But there's also fear and hatred, and those things cause us to make mistakes sometimes to do really terrible things. Peter cautions young Christians everywhere to resist adversaries, and then he offers something that can be very comforting. He reminds us that there are brothers and sisters in our faith struggling everywhere in the world, going through the same things. We're not alone in our suffering. And that's important to remember while this global coronavirus pandemic continues. There are no places on earth that haven't been affected by the virus. Millions have been infected, but billions more have been hurt by the results of the virus. People have lost their jobs, there are shortages of food, and we're all still trying to figure out this balancing act of how to reopen our communities without causing further harm or damage. These are all adversaries that we face today, but we're facing it together. We're in a great community, not just of Christians, but of human beings, and we need to help each other get through this. So listen to the wisdom of those who came before you. Be humble and pay attention. Give God your worries and pray with your loved ones. You are not alone. I invite you to read this passage, 1 Peter chapter 5, verses 5 through 11, and then talk about these suggestions with your family. Which ones might you need to work on? This Sunday, I look forward to worshiping with you over our broadcast at 11 a.m., and I look forward to seeing your faces as we have another Zoom hangout for our youth this Sunday night at 7:30. Until then, stay safe and healthy, and feel free to share this devotion with a friend. See you soon.